Anyways, let's start this tier list. We're doing the official Valorant parents tier list. So we got 5 categories. We got mom/dad of the year. We got will volunteer for field trips. They put food on the table. We got guaranteed trauma, and we got when to get milk. So Astra, I don't know if I'd put her in mom and dad of the year. I feel like she would volunteer on field trips. She might even be lower. But I still think she's responsible enough to, put food on the table for you. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's a good spot for her. Puts food on the table. We got Breach. I feel like Breach is the same. He might be volunteer on field trips. I don't know. He seems like a busy man. I'm not even sure what his lore is. What's Breach's lore? He becoming so notorious for the terrible things he'd done that he eventually had to go into hiding and effectively exile himself from his... Jesus. I think Breach might be meant to get milk, dude, to be honest, too. I think we're moving him down. Jesus, I didn't know he was a criminal. What the hell? Brimmy? Brim, this is Daddy Brim we're talking about, bro. Daddy Brim goes in Dad of the Year, 100%. Next up, we have Chamber. I feel like Chamber went to get milk, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel like Cypher is more than... I feel like Cypher would come home. I feel like he's a guaranteed trauma. I don't think he would run out on his family, but I do think that he would cause some issues. He might even puts food on the table. It doesn't seem like anything bad. He just works in the intelligence industry. I feel like that's true. I feel like he's the type where he would take extra care of his family, dude. I think he puts food on the table. I don't think he'd volunteer for field trips because I don't think he has the time, but I definitely think he's putting food on the table. For sure. Next up is Jett. I feel like this one's an obvious. I feel like this one's guaranteed trauma. Yeah, Jett would force them to run track. Yeah, probably, dude. That is traumatic, if anything. Next up is KO. I don't know much about his lore. He is a robot. I feel like it'd also be guaranteed trauma, right? I mean, his default mode is kill mode. He actually... Like, that seems like trauma worthy to me. He has a voice line that literally says
kill mode is default.
He's making a joke out of it. So yeah, I feel like that's a easy trauma. Easy trauma. Next up is KJ. She's an engineer who, like, all she cares about is machines and working on her robots and improving them. I don't see her in volunteering for field trips, but I do think she puts food on the table. You think she'd be field trips? Really? Do we really think she would? I feel like that's kind of high. I think Killjoy would make robots to make her kids' lives easier. And therefore, because she makes the lives easier, she has more time to spend. So therefore, she might be able to go to field trips. So I think she might actually be up here. She might be our first parent to volunteer for field trips. Next is Neon. I don't know much about Neon either. Can we look up her lore? She has strong and close ties with her family. That is pretty good, man. Yes, she'll force her kids to run marathons, but she has strong and close ties with her family, which means that she'll make them do it out of love. Yeah, I think she might be mom of the year, man. Omen? I feel like Omen's a trauma, dude. The fact that he can teleport... I mean, what do you need to teleport for besides to get away from the family? Yeah. If I must live in this nightmare, my enemies might as well join me. That does not sound like a loving father figure. That sounds like trauma to me, dude. Next up is Phoenix. I feel like he's a responsible adult. I feel like he's either in field trips or puts food on the table. Caused by his own impatience, he is more than capable of quickly adapting to circumstances, turning the tables around. I feel like that's father material. I think he puts food on the table is a good spot for him. Next is Raze. Okay, here's the thing. I don't think she goes for milk. Let me explain what I think about Raze. I think Raze goes out to party at night, but I think she comes back at the end of the night with McDonald's for her kids. Maybe guaranteed trauma because she is all about the explosives. We'll put guaranteed trauma. I feel like the fact that she has this like sense of family gives her a little bit of a higher thing, but I definitely think she'll traumatize her kids. Next up is Reyna. I know she's like evil and a vampire sucker, but do you think she could be a mom? Maybe. Takes what she wants when she wants it, no matter who's standing in her way. Savage and almost animalistic. She's not one to hesitate when it comes to limiting her enemies and getting blood on her hand. That doesn't sound very motherly to start. She would try to be a mom, but I think it would be bad. I think trauma for sure. Man, this trauma section's big, dude. But thank God we got some saving grace in the next one. Sage is an easy mom of the year. Easy mom of the year. Next up is Skye. This seems like pretty good, man. I feel like she's at least volunteer on field trips, though, right? At least volunteer on field trips. Like, why wouldn't I put her in mom of the year? That's the only question. Like, the question is, what is wrong with her story that makes me not want to put her here? I don't know if there's anything that's really that bad. I feel like she might be up there. Just because the chat is really into Skye and they believe it, I'm going to put her up at mom of the year. Being the team player that he is, Sova always commends his allies and never hesitates to voice out his vote. He seems to value the team to the point of risking his own life, to which Brimstone reminds him that's equally important that he looks out after himself. I feel like we might have to do a mom/dad of the year comp. Like, look at this comp. This isn't even like a bad team comp for mom and dads of the year only. Viper's probably going to be Trauma, but I really want hope for her because I like playing Viper. A savage and confident AG who doesn't fear enemies and in fact desires the enemy's fear. We're off to a bad start. She does not hesitate to call herself a villain and a monster and will act like both if it means the success of her objective. That's also pretty damn bad. However, she's seen being more amiable and caring towards her teammates, which sounds like a good word. So we're just going to double check it just in case because I don't know what it means. Having or displaying a friendly and pleasant manner. That's a good sign. Do I think she would volunteer for a field trip? Absolutely not. But I want to put her at puts food on the table. I feel like she would be a decent mother. I feel like Yoru got milk, dude. 100%. Yoru is like, hey guys, I'm just going to go to the convenience store. I'll be back in a day. I feel like if you have a TP, man, you're using that to run away from the family. I'm not going to lie. I feel like that's a thing. I feel like Yoru is a milk guy, dude. I'm going to be honest. I honestly like the tier list. I actually fully agree with pretty much all of it.